And hello. Hello and welcome. I'm Zilla.
I'm Tortoise.
And this is my stream, Ancient Gaming. This week we're continuing our playthrough of Heaven's Vault. This is stream 10 in series. If you'd like to start from the beginning, you can of course check out all the recordings on my YouTube channel, Zilla's Athenaeum. And you're welcome to jump on in the middle with us. So Heaven's Vault is a game about epigraphy, robots, and grad school. Which are, three things I care a lot about. And Tortoise is a puzzle creation specialist who has a lot of experience with constructed languages, which is a big part of this game. So we are a history grad student named Aaliyah, who is journeying around the nebula in her sailboat with her robot 6. And today we'll be starting in the middle of a ruin called the Withering Palace. So we have this helpful little recap right at the beginning, provided by the game. Aaliyah and 6 have been looking for the roboticist Janiki Renba sent by Professor Miyari to uncover the fall of Iox, which she believes is soon to return. But ancient memories found within a robot led Renba to a different discovery, an ancient observatory, the Vault, which Renba believed could save the nebula from darkness. The roboticist's search began with a telescope-like device from a ship buried deep on a moon near Elborethian, a relic from the Vault, perhaps? And here we go. If you're in chat, feel free to say hi. I'd love to hear from you, and we'll try to respond to your messages on stream. Here we are. There's a table to look at. Looks like an altar. Is this a temple? Did the Emperor secretly worship the ancient gods? What's that? More inscriptions? Wonderful! Let's start with an inscription. Beautiful workmanship. This is a short inscription that we get to take apart from our previous knowledge. So looks like we have a pretty straightforward set in the beginning here. We already know the word for live. We already know the word for forever. And then curious.
Place first person.
Well, a place first person sounds like here to me. Maybe first person is located closest to you. That's the idea about it being first, anyway. At least in English.
Yeah, we've seen this. I think we've also had, like, this use the same sort of construction.
So, live forever here. It's a strange offer to make. Did people die here? For people who were withering? Tended by robots, perhaps. With all the gods watching. This is what she means by with all the gods watching. These statues that represent the pre-imperial gods, even though this is an imperial site. So we could go down there first, but I don't know, this plaza, it's definitely interesting. What are you thinking, 6? Have you worked out what's troubling you yet, 6? Yes. No. There was a chair. What? Here, in the center of this place, a chair on wheels. I sat down in it, mistress. They put something on my brow. What do you mean, sat? I sat in a chair. Golden, painted, of course, carved with leaves winding up its legs, faces watching me. I I remember the texture of the wood. I could barely lift my head, but I lifted it all the same. Mistress, I was tied. Something is happening to you, 6. Something here doing this to you. I am myself, mistress. I am not surprised if that upsets you. Do you have an off switch, maybe? Do you? Now be quiet. I can't hear above your chatter. What? Roy's going to have fun taking you apart. They're so snarky. What else do you remember? There's nothing more. The voices are gone. What do you think they were? Who? Friends. Children. A whole life's worth. So 6 seems to be remembering stuff from a lifetime. There was a chair here in the center above this hole, which is worrying. Let's... Oh, a cairn of stones. Let's look at it. These were placed here deliberately to mark this god in particular. The praying goddess. God? Goddess? I can't tell. I mean, the language doesn't. It seems curious to assign gender to a god mistress. After all, what would they do with it? Good question! That's what I wonder all the time. What do people do with gender? Okay. Here's the water goddess. There are glyphs at her base. They read as water, as we thought. And then the death goddess from the Emperor's graveyard, still weeping. Unfortunately, we can't see the base of her statue any more than we could the praying god. An armless god? But there are glyphs. We can even see the glyphs in the art, which is pretty cool. This isn't a word I already know. I'll have to make a guess. Oh, but it is a word we already know.
Oh.
So this
is
is
a word that we've guessed.
Yeah, that's true. So we've guessed that this is serpent. You can see above there, I guess I can't highlight it, that one of the things that is related is serpents with a possessive marker in front. So the glyphs, these are ideographs if you haven't been playing long. So each symbol kind of means a thing, and put together they tend to form related compounds. So we have the animate object marker,
which is usually an animal but can also probably include robots.
The plants glyph, we think, the place glyph, and then a connector dot, and then what we think is land or mountain. Why that means snake, well, there could be a couple of reasons, but would explain the lack of arms, although it doesn't explain why the ancients worshipped snakes. Actually, snakes are a really common worship figure.
I was gonna say, who didn't?
Yeah. In ancient earth cultures, snakes are frequently represented. Most curious? Yes, I see. What's all this? Okay. I'll get to you in a minute, 6. This one seems to be giving or holding something. Let's look at their glyphs. Place dot light dot day? Sun? Do you think?
Yeah.
That would explain what it's giving. Giving light and life. Then a reaching god. He's picking fruit, perhaps. Oh, this is a glyph we've already guessed for sky. Okay. The god of the sky and rivers, is that what you are? Okay. Oh, can I move them? That would be nice. Oh yeah, let's get some glyphs.
Doing some archaeology.
Although we did just destroy some archaeological data. Usually, as an archaeologist, you would want to mark where all of the stones were first, before removing them. Especially since she seems to believe that these were placed deliberately. So place a dot, what we've been using as ground, so... The god of the earth. The goddess of the earth? Would be a pretty common figure, but usually that is conflated with the snake worship, actually. So that's really fascinating. So, water, death. Oh, completed my analysis of the hopper eye. I've sent test packets through for minor refraction. I would like to leave now, but I cannot hopper us from under the rock. You've acquired 6 promising artifacts here. I've also collected some evidence of one new location. What's the matter? You going to tell me what the hopper does? I observed 2 things about the hopper. Individually, they are of trivial interest. Together, they are unpleasant. Just tell me. The eye is flawed, mistress. Internal cracking means it can only refract some of the information passed to it. Specifically, the physical matrix is not reacted. If used, only the neural mesh would disentangle. I'm an archaeologist, 6. I speak ancient, not technical. You might hopper to the eye and never arrive. My second finding is more pressing. This hopper is not broken, it has been carefully engineered to function this way. But what good is a neural mesh without a physical matrix? Maybe they brought a matrix with them. Perhaps so. Could a neural mesh be stored? Kaya was. Shall I try the hopper again? No, not yet. I am not done. We saw Kaya's face. No, we did not. We saw a mask stored within her holographic projector, just as my face is not my own. So this hopper is a way to kill people, an execution device, or a way to store people, a way to bottle them. That is pretty disturbing. So Kaya was here some time ago, and they used that thing to do it. Someone did this to an empress. On her deathbed, perhaps? What happened to her body? It will have been lost as entropy, mistress. In a very real sense, mistress, it would have returned to the rivers. Yeah, I mean, it has been hundreds of years. Not thousands. But there's something in the stone here. I've never seen anything like it. It's a device of some kind. What do you make of it, 6? Evidently, it is old. Very old. Yeah, cool. Tell me something specific, robot. I would estimate the metal in this to be almost 2,500 years old. Another artifact from that great forge? It is possible, but we still do not know where the forge is or if it existed. Is it lined up with the eye? I believe it is a hopper source, a sort of emitter, though it is clearly defunct. Okay, well, that's useful. So we've got water, death, snakes, sun. Oh, source appears to be aimed directly at the hopper eye. That's very weird. And put a chair in the middle. That does suggest that your theory about storing people is correct. So, where was I? Ah, yes. Water, death, snakes, sun, sky, earth. And she's said that there were 7 gods, which is odd. Can we use it? Do you really want to? No, but maybe you could. My ethical core would not permit that. If this hopper is directed underground, it would require another hopper in the earth to return. You said there was something creepy about this place. Is this a place of execution? A hopper set up to carry you straight into rock? It is possible. I don't think so, though. So after all, we did hear noises from below. Have I looked at everything around here? I feel like there might have been... Ooh. Somebody wrote something down here. Let's take a look.
Scrawled.
Written in charcoal that has persisted all this time, and it's divided up into words for us. Ooh, I think this is math. Well, not math, but like numbers.
So we have seen... These are similar to the markers that we have in the pronouns.
Right. So the cup with 1 dash is found after person in second person, and the cup with 1 dot is found after the person marker in first person. So the question is, what comes next? This is not 1, but it could be 5 or it could be 3. Have we seen the third person pronoun?
We have not seen... I did some checking, and do not see any third person pronouns in what we have. Other than it, which does not use a person marker, which does not use a number marker. I would be inclined for the first one to be 1 plus 2, but that is,
1 plus 2 could be. This is definitely not 10 or 20, though, right?
Well,
because I mean, I guess it depends what base they're counting in.
Right. So we have 2 something
High.
And then high, like high could mean, in this case, an exponent. In which case, if it's something raised to the second power, then 100 fits.
Okay. And then we've got 2 dashes high.
Well, if 2 dashes is... if 1 dash is 2, and 2 is... then 2 would be 4, so 4 raised to the 2 would be 16. So I guess we would be in base 5, I guess, and the low dash is 0.
Interesting. Math is definitely your speed more than mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have seen a lot of speculation. There's a whole Discord server dedicated to Inkle's games, and a lot of like just channels about Heaven's Vault language, and there's a big discussion about how the numbers work that I have deliberately not been following.
Yeah, it would be very weird to me to have this place value system and then include things like 4 squared to mean 16. It's as opposed to like 10 plus 6. It's a weird way to do it. Now, I have written weird number systems in conlangs. I will, you know, I'm certainly not casting stones here. Just
Yeah, but also, like, I just want to point out that in a more realistic sense, just because a number is put together weirdly doesn't mean it's not how people think. Just look at French. Just
yeah, it's true. It could be the equivalent of 80.
Alright, so that's what we think. Fairly sure those are numbers. But what they're meant to signify, I have no idea. Learned... Okay, you're gonna try to hopper us out again. No. No, no, no. We still have more to do. I'm not leaving until I go look below. Ooh, there are carvings over there. Excuse me. Not much visible. The dust has worn it all away. A few images, but it's hard to see what they are. The stone panels must all have been inscribed once, telling some kind of story. Gone now. That is a common thing you find in sites. The door is stuck. We knew that. Is a mural nearby presenting a relevant or meaningful story to the site. We could leave again. 6 can get over that. But I want
To clamber down.
to clamber down. Wait here, 6. I will be back. Do you really have to? Yes, I really have to. Oof. Look at this.
Empty, cold, stale air.
What is this place?
A cavernous space all around me.
Aaliyah, what have you found? Space is huge and cold. It must go right down to the core of the moon. What was that? I'm sure I heard something. How far down does it go? Kicked a stone. That was the noise. Definitely not something moving around down there. Seemed to be whispering. Ramps. No stairs. Easy now. Don't want to fall. How far down does it go? Was this a treasure vault? You could store vast amounts here. It isn't Remba's mysterious vault, though. I don't like it one little bit. Perhaps it was for storing water. It's large enough to hold a decent reservoir. Not unreasonable, given how important. If you have a wellspring, why build a reservoir? And if you do have one, why do you need a reservoir? Talking to myself. Yes. No, seriously, what was that? I definitely saw something moving. Not going down there! I'm actually not moving her. She did that on her own. Noise is gone now, I think. This place was built for robots. They were buried in here. A palace for robots. Wonder if there's a chamber like this under Iox somewhere. Why would they build something like this? A prison? A hideout? Kaya wanted to come here, but why would anyone want to come down here? How would they even get down here? And where did all the robots go? Or did they? This chamber was sealed up. The underground room had no way in or out. The robots were kept down there, but someone let them out. Yeah, you have to remember, up above, this place is all stairs. No ramps, but somebody broke it down and built a ramp from the inside. Hopper Eye must have been the only way into the palace below. Whoever built this place was burying robots alive, but not like they were buried in Iox. Not simply bricked up in the walls. So why did Kaya want to come here? She said she had a place in the palace. Light from the opening above. The only light down here. The frieze showed people falling into a light. Well, we couldn't see that, but I guess Aaliyah could. I went to a lot of trouble to get down here. What were you looking for? Were you looking for robots? Did Remba come here? He is a robot, or was a roboticist. Will you go down? Nope. Walkways are steep and narrow, and who knows what's down here. And she is just walking back out. Well, I think that might be all we get from here, but I'll try to walk around the top. Oh, there's something here. A battered heavy pick. It looks like something from the early Empire. It says mining equipment. How did this come to be here? Well, no inscription on the blade. It probably comes from the place that had the candle holder, so that should help us work out how to look for the new site. Probably was used by somebody to break this place open. Anything else up around the top? You can kind of hear a humming noise coming from down there, can't you? Oh, something? More graffiti! More charcoal glyphs. These look more promising than the last in that they're not just a bunch of numbers. But there's definitely some that I have not seen before in this run. Ooh. I don't know if we're gonna have enough to work with this. Well, so it starts with a place glyph and then Empress. So I think that's probably the word for palace, but that's not one of our options. And then we've got a possessive, and I can put that in. Then that will seems like it's part of a longer word. But this one doesn't. Oh, that actually worked. Cool. And hey, palace is one of our options. So the palace of... Do we have anything like that square glyph?
We have seen it like once or twice before, and I don't think we've gotten enough to... Don't think we've identified any of the words that use it.
All right.
But we've got person, time, or person will, maybe. Person, something.
So it's people. It's definitely not goddess. We don't have glyph for holy here.
Right.
It could be princes, but what does that even mean? It could be potters, but that seems like a really strangely specific thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm inclined towards princes. What do you think?
Yeah.
And then we have...
Go, not up.
Go not up, so I would guess fall. That's a nice graffito, actually. And yeah, a single piece of graffiti is actually known in archaeology as a graffito. That is how that works. That's contextually a very interesting statement. So this is the Palace of Princes, the Withering Palace. Or is it somewhere else? There's only one palace that fell so far as I know about, and that was on Iox. Unless it means this place. Hard to say. Coming back out.
There was something down there. I'm sure of it.
The curators on Iox will be content with that. We can go, but we're not going to Iox. Well, 6 is happy. So we left the surface of the site of the Withering Palace with enough information to locate a new site. So the Withering Palace, what a fascinating place. So we have the implication of people's neural mesh, people's personhood being hoppered down into a place full of robots. Mistress, I'm receiving... What does she want? Message from Miari. You can ask her herself. Aaliyah, I want you back on Iox. Why? With Renba gone, I need someone else. Waste no time. I have something I must tell you. So tell me. Must have been a message sent in haste. Now to look at that inscription I found. Sorry? This thing. Wondered if it was a compass, but no matter how I fiddled with it, it only points where I pointed. Indeed. More with the appearance of a spatial calculator. A spatial calculator? Indeed, mistress. Somehow, by leveling the ring, one puts the output of whatever it is the device is intended to calculate. It's a little miniature orrery. Such a calculator would clearly only work in a fixed point in space. I can't see the purpose of it. I don't know what she was talking about. Let's start sailing. Of course, then we need to figure out where we're going. It has become an interesting question. We have 3 different sites we could check out. The Age of Sail site, the pre-Empire site, and the observatory. We could always go back to Elboreth for more information. I bet Oroi would be a really good source of information right now. And Miari really wants us to go to Iox. So, what you thinking, Tortoise?
As much as I dislike Iox, it does seem rather urgent and the sort of thing that would just be hanging over us even more.
Okay.
If we don't.
Let's go find out what Miari wants. This is happening because I said we aren't going to Iox, isn't it? I want to know what is up with the 7th god. Yeah, the implications... Ooh, a rapid. Camel's teeth? When have you ever seen a camel? So So we have the implication of people hoppering their brains into a place full of creepy robots, and then it being bricked up, and then it being picked open sometime later. Unexplored waters. Neat. Let's go find out. I like unexplored waters.
Will there be ruins?
There might be ruins in them. Those ruins might have artifacts with inscriptions. Miners freed the robots from the underground chamber at the Withering Palace. But why? Why indeed? Should go right. And it looks like there is in fact a ruin up there. A shipwreck. Guess it dates from the age of sail? Recovered a river chart. Must have come from somewhere close to here. It's been painted on. Ooh. Intriguing. No, I have no idea what accent that was supposed to be. So, we've got you are, then looks like our previously guessed word of welcome here. It's verb person dot many one speech together. And then that's with dot something. So I don't think it's just with. And then that doesn't look right. Huh. Place dot jewels. I don't know. Oh my. I don't know if this is picking up on the speakers, but that is quite a loud siren.
Well, I mean, we're probably going to have to put something in and get it rejected or...
Okay, let's put something in. Oh. Okay, well, we've got our word for welcome and sky. And it just knocked off that last glyph. So, okay.
Was it the beginning of a longer piece of text, maybe?
I guess it must be, although she didn't say so. So we have of dot hold? Is that what that is?
Yeah, I think so. Or have, so... And of has often been sort of a preposition marker in general. Like, other prepositions derived from it.
So do you think it's in? All are welcome in the sky?
Yeah.
Or you are welcome in the sky.
Oh, right. Yes.
That's a pretty sensible thing to have on a star chart, or a river chart, rather. Okay, narrowed down our search for the pre-Empire site, I think.
Word for sky. Oh no, we have sky. New word for in.
Yes. What do you suppose Miari wants? Another job for us to do? From the recording she sent, I cannot be sure. But from the emotional content, I believe she had made some kind of decision. Perhaps she wishes to take you into confidence. can get feelings from recordings, huh? 6. Indeed. Recording is merely a moment or so of thought. Thought is not like the writing we so often translate. It's more like a wind blowing through a canyon. Or a river through space. A ruin from the age of sail. Dented sextant engraved with a ship design. Some etched characters, fabulous. A broken fragment from a longer phrase. And I guess now we can sometimes expect there to be extraneous bits on the ends. I did remember that happening before, but it hasn't happened so far this game. Until just now. We've got what looks like heart here. And some kind of verb. Verb, noun, light, high, connector. Noun, holy, high. And then here. Okay. So... the first noun, isn't that our noun for...
I think stars or something?
Yeah.
Let me just see if I can find it.
And the second noun, holy on high.
Surely I have stars.
Well, it's not voices, because this is a verb.
Okay, yeah, it's star. Star, and then do we have something like the latter part of it? Little stars of heaven or something like that? No, it's not heaven because it's not a place, but...
Yeah, it's like holiness or God, I would think. But...
I know it's a sextant. Yeah, rests or stops, but I don't know which.
But I don't think heart stops here is likely to be the answer, but I don't... Maybe, it's a sextant, maybe it's pointing the way to a place of rest, in theory. It's a tough one. Belonged to a pirate, perhaps. Seems like one of your more far-fetched ideas.
Don't crush her dreams.
I do agree, that's one of the more far-fetched ideas she's put out. Not impossible, though. Were there ever pirates in the skies of the nebula? We don't know, but if Aaliyah thinks there were, then maybe so.
If there are... Well, I was going to say there must be, if there are trade routes. But the way the nebulas work, it's kind of hard to...
It's kind of hard to ambush or to deliberately run into anybody because the rivers are all one way. We're back in Ioxian space, so probably no more ruins.
Once, sailing through Eagle's Pass, I thought I saw a gigantic ship, as large as a moon, moving down the river like a shadow. Of course, I was ahead of it, and by the time I looped around, it was gone.
take too long, she says. It's interesting what parts they go ahead and have her be automated for. So I'm automated up to here, where I can already get to Mayari's office, past the library, and anything else I might want to do. So, Aaliyah and the robot. What do you call it? 6? Professor. Thank you, Aaliyah. I know it must feel like I order you around. I don't mean to do that. I hope you know I respect you. I don't believe
Sure
you.
you do.
Just tell me what this is about. Time is against us all. I've decided to take you into certain confidences. Go on. As you know, Remba was looking into the fall. Let me show you what he found. 6 to me. Professor. Sliset. Whoop. Ryangset. Setsyang. What language is that?
Explicit.
You don't know? It's ancient. Renba discovered that ancient cores can be accessed directly if you know the right words.
So what was that?
Setsyang
Setsyang.
wants you to ask it a question. It sounds a lot like Elboreth patois. I knew it was old, but I'm only guessing here. Katkis? Katkis I huabo yekefisel. Micus. Micus ikis boke. What is it talking about, Leah? Give me a moment. Salehwa? Salehwa I huamke reka. Huameke? That's a pretty bad thing to call someone. But then, so is Salehwa. Elborethians really are talking in ancient. I remember a few words of patois anyway. Huameke? Huameke iab huabo renfar. How is sex talking ancient? I think all robots speak ancient internally, but Remba found a way in. A word. Malifar. It means fall. Mia Malifar. Wetsala Malifal Ori Elboreth. Katiokis Malifar Bomeke. Oh, I really wish we could write this down quicker. It's as far as I've managed to go. I need you to do better. Remba was from Elboreth. He would have known patois like any other street kid. You think that's how he did it? Then can you? Given time. Setsyang. Professor, what is it you think I can do? When Iox fell, Aaliyah, the palace here was overrun. There were 100 slaughters. Fallers killed almost everyone, people and robots. We know this, but we don't know where they came from, who they were, how they got in, how so many got in. We must know before it happens again. The robots know. Mistress, a phrase has appeared in my mind, Mistress. Heaven's Vault. Is this the vault that Renba's ghost was talking about? Heaven's Vault? Worthless. It's a story from the Old Sea. The Old Sea. Loop says the Old Sea never existed. It's only a story. I suppose they didn't tell you stories at the orphanage? I would have told you stories if you'd been with me. Just tell me. Some other time I have more important matters to consider, as should you. There's something I wanted to ask you. Tell me the story of the dang vault. That's what I want to know. It will not help you, might. Once there was an island home to a wild and wondrous people in the middle of an old sea, and it was sinking. It had always been sinking. The rocks that formed its cliffs and shores were crumbling. The fertile soil clawed away grain by grain by the sea wind, but it happened so slowly that people said it was natural. They believed the island would heal like a wound. until the night came when the sea crept into their houses and swept the children away. And the people blamed themselves. They prostrated themselves before altars and begged forgiveness, but the sea did not stop. It took their children, then their fields, then all their lower lands, and soon their island was no more than a hill. Kings climbed on kings, all hope was lost, so they felled their last fruit tree to build a boat. The boat was not large, but it was strong enough to sail beyond the edges of the world. No one knew how far it would have to go to find a shore. And then what happened? The boat set sail. It left beyond the horizon. No one had ever sailed so far. No one knew if it would ever land. And the boat's name, they say, was the Heaven's Vault. Heaven's Vault is a ship? It's a story for children, Aaliyah, to make them clean their teeth and weed their potatoes. Nothing more. I'm sorry you didn't get to be a child on Elbereth. Your life here would have been better. Aaliyah? Have you heard anything about an ancient observatory? It's a curious question. Found some kind of telescope fitting. Wondered what it might mean. Never heard of an observatory, but maybe Remda found something. Do you know how that ship might have exploded? I imagine he didn't know how to sail it. Told him to take a robot. Why would a roboticist travel without a robot? He didn't want any evidence of his hiring laborers? It's not illegal, but I don't know what he did with them. I think I'm done now. Thank you for the story. It's alright. It's good to know you're not too old for stories. Stories are important. They tell us a lot about the people who told them. So, let's go.
Don't want to talk to Wang?
Oh, yeah, I guess I should talk to Huang. So what does that story tell us about the people who told it? This is a story of a flood, of a dying world, of a ship without hope. What makes you think I have a cat? We got a message for you. Everyone knows we're friends, so the message found its way to me. A message about my cat. That's right. Sounds like your cat is fine. That's good news. I knew you had a cat. What's its name? Wang. I don't believe you. Well, Kitty Paws is feeling better on Elbereth with your friend Oroi. Oh, the message was from Oroi. She's the one you left your cat with, isn't she? Well, I'd better go to Elbereth then. She said you seemed to have forgotten about it. I can't believe that, though. You always go back for your cat. Thanks, Huang. I'd like to show you some text. See what you got. Well, we got confirmation on the word book. That's nice. Have you ever heard the word slisette before? Ooh. That time Six's face went away. No, I don't think so. Sounds like the way they talk on Elbereth, but Aaliyah, what's wrong with your robot? Six? There you are, buddy. Mistress. My head. That's a curious way to phrase that. Yes. Yeah. What's up? Found the Withering Palace. It was beyond the garden, just as she wrote. What was there? Books. Lots of books. I brought you one. It's an original copy of the Chronicles of Mazwai. Aaliyah, it's beautiful. Aaliyah, it's annotated. This is incredible. I'll have to... Let me know if you find anything. Of course I will. You won't. Alright. I think he's done for now. Let's go. Yes, I'm ready to go now.
It's annotated. It's like, yeah, that actually is pretty exciting.
That is a scholar after my own heart, is Wong. Kitty. Oh, yeah, you haven't seen my kitty this stream. Here she is. Fortunately, she's got a little cone because she keeps scratching her ear open. She's doing okay. Ooh,
Apart from
a
being
new
from
site
the-
indicated.
In the 14 flows.
It's not a name I remember. Where's my gecko? There's my gecko. Hi, Sticky. Okay, let's go. So, an unknown ancient site out here. Should we go to Elbereth or should we try an ancient site first?
I'm worried about our cat. Kitty paws.
I think she means something about the crown. Yeah, no kidding, Aaliyah. Let's go. How you doing, kitty paws? She's snoozing. What a good baby. Ramba must have tried a word of Elborethian when working with Six. Perhaps by chance. He was from Elbereth. Maybe he jabbed his thumb with a screwdriver and swore. It seems remarkable this had not been discovered before. But no one on no one on Iox speaks Elborethian patois. They would never bring themselves to. It's, again, a very colonialist attitude of Iox, right? Is to never speak the language that is of a conquered people, to think of it as lesser, and to overlook the potential it has. Although, if you're a fan of Babel by R.F. Kuang, you might have some further insight to that. That is a recommendation. If Elbereth patois is spoken ancient, and the control words for robot sound like patois, I suppose the control words are in ancient. Yes. That is how that works.
What is the one where Sumerian is how to unlock secret?
Snow Crash by Neil Stephenson is a very amusing... It's a really fun book. You just have to ignore some things about how
My
language
Ari
and
tried to
brains
stop
work.
me from sailing. She said it was dangerous. But I don't think she meant dangerous. I think she meant wrong. She's afraid of the rivers. Afraid of what all that space can do to you on the inside.
Yes, as I was saying, Snow Crash, part of the premise, mild spoilers, I don't, it's an old book, go read it. Just, Neil Stephenson has trouble with ending his books. They kind of go off the rails, and also the premise of this one is an example of the strong Sapir-Whorf hypothesis. The Sapir-Whorf hypothesis is that the language that you speak dictates how you can think. And the strong version of that is basically that, you know, your brain is kind of programmable in the way of a computer, which is really the perspective that that particular book takes. The weak Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, ooh, I cannot talk today, is actually probably true, in that you will tend to have associations based on how your language speaks about certain things. If your native language is... There have been studies like on how people who speak English as their first language versus people who speak German as their first language talk about time and money, and how that seems to affect how they use time and money. And then they got people who spoke both, and they actually spoke about time and money differently when they were speaking different languages, and used it more like one or more like the other depending on which they had spoken last. So that's kind of amazing and cool, but it's definitely not like, you know, someday somebody's going to find the one true language at the base of human existence and unlock our potential. Like that's...
Although if you do want science fiction involving the strong Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, then Arrival, the movie, or the story, I think it's The Story of Your Life.
Yeah. I still haven't seen Arrival, strangely enough. This is like the most me movie ever made, and I've still never seen it. Someday.
Anyway, I recommend it.
Six is complaining we left the weapons on the ship so we won't get barred from the Citadel. And actually, while we were discussing that, I did notice that we crossed over the hour mark, so this is probably where I'm going to stop us. None of the other statues had feet. Maybe it wasn't a statue of a god. Maybe it was a statue of a person. Or maybe the seventh god had feet. Alright, thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you enjoyed watching. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
And keep learning. Yes, Arrival's got tentacles, thank you.